Where do you want to be in 3 months? There is plenty of evidence to show that people who set clear, achievable goals are far more likely to arrive at their desired outcomes and to be more successful generally than those who don't. If you know where you're going, you have something to shoot for, and if you have a plan for getting there, you're more likely to arrive. It has been said that a goal is a dream with a deadline. In a previous video, you created a vision of how you'd like to be in 1 to 5 years. You've designed your dream. Next, you will start creating some goals, some desired outcomes with a deadline that will move you in the direction of your dream. Typically, 3 months is an ideal length of time for an outcome goal. 3 months is a long enough amount of time to see long-lasting permanent results. It's also short enough that there's a sense of urgency involved. Let me explain what I mean with a couple of examples. Consider one's typical attitude for setting a New Year's resolution, such as losing a certain amount of weight, and compare it to the motivation to prepare for and run a race, such as a 5K or a marathon. Even though they feel similar in nature, there are noticeable differences in the two goals. Since the New Year's resolution to lose weight has no end point, no target date for accomplishment, typically the person loses motivation because there's no sense of urgency. There's a goal in mind, but it isn't pinned to a timeline for when it is going to be realized. Very rarely do people set New Year's resolutions and then successfully complete them the way they intended on January 1st. Preparing for the race, on the other hand, creates real motivation because there is something special about the looming deadline of the event itself. The end stays in mind, and that tends to drive the behavior to be ready for it, to prepare for it. As it gets closer, urgency increases. Most people who plan to run a race at a specific place and time usually end up running in the race. Outcome versus behavioral goals. Before we set our goals, let me clarify the difference between an outcome goal and a behavioral goal. An outcome goal differs from a behavioral goal in that an outcome goal generally describes how things will be at the end point. It describes states of being or habituated patterns of behavior. A behavioral goal, on the other hand, refers to specific things you will do that will move you in the direction of your outcome goals as you do them. A behavioral goal is a specific behavior that you plan to do. Here are a couple of examples for you to compare both types of goals. Outcome goal: increase my inner peace and tranquility. Behavioral goal: meditate 3 times each week, or practice yoga 4 times each week. Outcome goal: feel content and grateful for all the good in my life. Behavioral goal: keep a gratitude journal and write in it every evening before I go to bed. Do you see the difference? By doing the behavioral goal, you're very likely to reach the outcome goal. This is another reason why New Year's resolutions tend to fail. The person may seek the desired outcome, to feel more grateful, but without a specific behavioral component, the action steps on the way, such as keep a daily gratitude journal, the plan frequently fails. So your 3-month goals should probably be outcome goals rather than behavioral goals. You are making your way to an endpoint of how you would like to be. In 3 months, your behaviors will have become habits. Obviously, you'll update your outcome goals on a weekly or monthly basis so they reflect your potentially changing desires. That's okay. The important thing is to keep the 3-month target, the end, in mind. Let's look at some examples of how your outcome goals might sound. I usually like to word them in this way. By the end of 3 months, I will... Then put in your desired goal. I'll throw a few out to help you brainstorm. By the end of 3 months, I will feel happy and content. I will treat my family with kindness and love. I will regularly spend mindful quality time with my favorite people. I will live in the present and experience the fullness of each moment. I will quietly resist nothing and accept the things I cannot change. I will feel tranquil and serene, even in the most chaotic of times. Next, we'll look at how to create effective behavioral goals. We'll do that in the next video.